So what's going on here? Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters is a Fox News strategic analyst, and he thinks he knows. Ralph, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is not supposed to be messing with the information in order to assuage political concerns. So what do you believe is the likelihood that somebody took General Dempsey out behind the woodshed over the weekend and said, "What are you saying the threat is imminent for?"
Well, they unquestionably took him out behind the woodshed and for an extended period. But let's face it, Megan, he deserved it. Because General Dempsey committed the greatest sin you can commit in the Obama administration last week. He told the truth. He told the truth that ISIS is a growing threat, that it's a threat to the United States, that the border no longer exists between Syria and Iraq, that you can't defeat the Islamic State without going into Syria, that we have to be worried about the thousands of Westerners who have flocked to them. And that just doesn't go with them being a JV team or with the administration's narrative. And if General Dempsey and Secretary Hagel were right, Obama would have to do something. So with a wave of the president's magic golf club, suddenly we're back to where, well, it's not an immediate threat, it's not a threat to the U.S. Megan, all flippancy aside, this reminds me of when I was in the Pentagon in the late Clinton years. And, you know, they didn't use the same words, but basically the Clinton administration insisted that al-Qaeda could never really attack the United States because they were JV.
They seem all over the board on this, Ralph. I mean, I can't keep up with the changing stories about ISIS. And you know, the JV comment is just, it's very problematic for this administration. It's not like that was 3 years ago. That was in January when the black flag of ISIS was flying over Fallujah, and they said that. And so the question is whether you think President Obama is disengaged, is he unprepared, is he disillusioned right now, as some suggest?
Well, I think he's sulking. I mean, he's just not going to clean his room. And you can't make him clean up his room. I mean, he's like a child. And it's really alarming because he needs to get out of his snit and do something because, well, to be fair to Obama, and I want to be fair to him, I think it really hurt him badly, Megan, that he got so much adulation early on, that he got that ridiculously, wildly premature Nobel Prize before he'd done anything. And he expected, I think he sincerely expected, that his personal charm would work on the whole world, including Islamist terrorists, that if he just put our military on ice and said some nice things about Islam, that the terrorist threat would go away. This man came to office with the worst level of naivety about the way the world really works.
It wasn't just President Obama who felt that way, though, Ralph. It was a lot of folks who voted for him and were war-weary and thought if we took a different approach, maybe we would get a different result.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, the American media were so resolutely anti-Bush that no matter what Bush did, it was going to be wrong. Now, the Bush administration made countless mistakes, and I criticized them when they did. But let's make no mistake. You know, if Bill Clinton had deposed Saddam Hussein, the left would have celebrated him as the greatest liberator since Abraham Lincoln. The problem wasn't so much what Bush did, but but who did it? That was Bush.
Let me ask you this question too.
Sure.
There's a report coming out in tomorrow's New York Times that two of our allies, our supposed allies in the Middle East, Egypt and the UAE, have teamed up to bomb Libya without keeping us in the loop. And here's a quote from the article. Twice in the last 7 days, Egypt and the UAE have secretly teamed up to launch airstrikes against Islamist allied militias battling for control of Tripoli, Libya, 4 senior American officials said. The U.S., the official said, was caught by surprise. Egypt and the Emirates, both close allies and military partners, acted without informing Washington or seeking its consent, leaving the Obama administration on the sidelines. What does that say to you about where America stands in the world right now?
Well, it means that our erstwhile allies, Egypt and the United Arab Emirates, don't trust us anymore. They were afraid that if they told us that the Obama administration would either leak it to the Qataris and the Turks, who would then leak it to the world, or we'd try to stop them. And look, Obama left an utter mess in Libya. The Egyptians live next door. The United Arab Emirates is worried about the rise of Islamist extremism. And what does the Obama administration do? Keeps Egypt at arm's length. and cozies up to the Qataris, who are unspeakably duplicitous, to the Turks, who are back the Muslim Brotherhood and who gave free passage through Turkey to the people who became the Islamic State terrorists. And we've got it absolutely upside down, but the bottom line is our allies can't trust us, our enemies don't fear us, and you can't blame that on Bush.